All right. I'll just post this out, and then we will start. Just 1 second. One more, and then we are good. All right. Alrighty. I need a drink. Jesus, I didn't even open it. Whoa. Wrong account? What does that mean? What does that mean? What are you doing over there? You have Rome in your lineup? I mean, you can go for it. It is the Bears. All right. So, quarterback for me, going over the cash. Like, I have Goff, I have Geno, I have Richardson, and then, Tommy DeVito. Those are my cash quarterbacks. I think if you want to get leverage, if you're wanting to go a 4K quarterback really, really bad, Brandon Allen, is kind of secretly a good play. If you're talking comparison between two 4K quarterbacks, like, people are going to play DeVito because of how bad Tampa's defense is. But, I mean, it is DeVito. Like, Brandon Allen's facing a Green Bay defense without Jair Alexander and still has all those pieces. So, like, I do think it's a good leverage play off that. So I do like Jaden Daniels against Dallas. My only concern is Dallas doesn't do anything like they have with Cooper Rush at quarterback. They have a lot of injuries defensively. Offensive line is kind of banged up, so sending you my current line. Okay. So yeah, I like Jaden Daniels. I like Patrick Mahomes. And that one, yet again, only concern is how bad Carolina is against the run. Carolina's played pretty decent lately, though. But there is a scenario where Patrick Mahomes has one of his better games. Obviously, this season, only one really, impactful game. And he definitely pays off in that one against Tampa. But the rest of the season, I mean, he's only got 15 touchdowns. It's ridiculous, right? They're relying upon the run game. Yeah. DeVito has one of the highest sack rates when he starts, isn't it? That's like one of the highest sack rates. I will say Stroud against Tennessee is one to watch for. I really like him. His numbers at home are ridiculous. Bo Nix is in a good spot against Vegas. Yet again, my only concern with that one is you look at what Vegas is allowed to quarterbacks, and it's not the greatest. The run game seems pretty good for Denver. Vegas just has not really fought back with teams. All right, so Mike Evans officially healthy. So going, what time is the Vegas game? Ha! So, unless we get news shortly before noon, which we can, let's see the injury. So, just seeing it right now, Jalen Coker is inactive. Adam Thielen active. Adam Thielen's he's below 5K, is he not? Yeah, so Adam Thielen, 4,700. I like Leggett today. I did mention I like Leggett. He's one of the guys I would target, but unsure of how that offense works with Thielen back. Neighbors active, Evans active, Swift active, Allen active, Laporta active. Tristan Wirfs is out for Tampa. Tyler Smith is out for the Cowboys. All right. I think that is it for injury news for early. So yeah, one of the difficult decisions people are going to make, I've seen some ownership kind of sway to them for Vegas. Abdullah at 4,300. Now, I will say doubtful usually means people aren't going to play. There's like a 98% chance that White and Madison don't play. But I'm telling you right now, if you play Abdullah, I would recommend doing a 3 running back build, and Abdullah is in your flex. So the reason being, if for whatever reason, Matson or White are in, right, and Abdullah's kind of splitting, you put him in the flex. We can look. Let's see if we got anybody from these teams at that price point for flex. So, Dontavian Wicks is kind of over there. Vele for Denver. Noah Fant cheaper. Tucker Kraft. Like you could go someone cheaper, I guess. But that would be my recommendation. If you're going to play Abdullah, I would recommend playing 3 running backs if that's the case and have them as a flex, just in case one of those guys is active. But yeah, going back to the quarterbacks. So I like Nix. I like Kyler. I think Kyler's in a good spot. If you like Geno, you should like Kyler as well. Baker's in a good spot getting Mike Evans back. Tua's in a really good spot against New England. I don't think he's lost in New England. If he did, it's 1 or 2 games. I think he's done really good against New England. Caleb Williams is cheap, in my opinion, at 5,100. I think there's an outcome where he has a really good game. So at 5,100, he's a good play. And then, yeah, DeVito, Allen for quarterbacks. Running backs, CMC in a good spot, HN in a good spot, Gibbs in a good spot, Ken Walker in a good spot, Josh Jacobs in a good spot. Like, Josh Jacobs is kind of a good mid-tier player. Obviously, around this range, you get Kareem Hunt, you get Brian Robinson, you could say Austin Eckler. I like Javonte for cheap, Tyrone Tracy. But if you're looking kind of for a mid-tier guy with no ownership in a good spot, like, not a lot of people are talking about, is Josh Jacobs against San Fran. With the amount of injuries San Fran has defensively, I think Josh Jacobs is in a really good spot. Like, he's gotten a lot of volume on this team. He's only gotten 5 touchdowns this season, right? Imagine if he had 10. We'd be talking about a totally different type of play right now. But, I mean, Green Bay uses him. They run the ball a lot. They used him in the receiving game. In the last 5 games, he's gotten 4 touchdowns, which that isn't bad itself, but if you say 5 games, 4 touchdowns, that means in the other 5 games he's gotten 1 touchdown. Like, the points will get there, right? Obviously, you see the point differential from the last 5 here to the first 5, and it's clear they are starting to use Josh Jacobs more in different ways, right? So Josh Jacobs is a really good spot. I don't think his price kills you at all. James Conner in a really good spot as well. David Montgomery. I always say week to week, I think a lot of people deal with the same issue as well, is Detroit is a good play almost every week. And you have to take the risk of who you're playing for Detroit. And that is what's always tough. Like, do you want to play Montgomery or do you want to play Gibbs? I played Montgomery last week. At 6,500, he scored 24.5 points, was under 10% ownership in the double up. You look at Gibbs, for 7,300, he got you 19.3. So Montgomery definitely better. But, I mean, you can go back and look at weeks in the past. You know, let's see week 7 and 8 for David Montgomery. Week 7 and 8, like 9 and 14. So, I mean, it's very clear there's situations that happen with Detroit. Other than that, like Tyrone Tracy, I think Tyrone Tracy's in another really good spot. Like, if you could afford, $400 to $300 more for entirely low ownership, Tyrone Tracy's there. I like Tyrone Tracy with DeVito, just because it's a backup quarterback. They kind of got nothing to lose now at this point. The playoff hopes are done. They're going with DeVito as their quarterback. Like, saying you're going DeVito over Drew Lock kind of means, in my opinion, you just given up on the season. I don't. If they really wanted to compete, they would have won Drew Lock. Like, DeVito won them games last year, but they weren't ever good games. But yeah, I think Tyrone Tracy could get some work in the receiving game, where he's gotten a lot of his work on the ground, but in this one I could see some in the receiving game. That's why I kind of like him. Rashard White, Bucky Irving, both those guys are in play for me at running back this week. Both those guys are in good spots against the Giants. Giants' defensive line is good, but the work they get in the receiving game, kind of bails them out fantasy point-wise sometimes. So, like that. Javonte is just cheap. Like, DraftKings, I've complained so much this season about pricing for DraftKings. Like, Javonte scored 18.7 at 57, and they dropped him down 500 in a good matchup. Like, you can go look at a lot of these players. Kareem Hunt got price adjusted because of Pacheco. Brian Robinson dropped down 700. He put up 14.2. It isn't the greatest, but he's a guy that's put up 10 plus DraftKings points in 4 out of his last 5 games. And I believe the one against Chicago is the one he left early, but I mean, he still got 16 attempts there. But yeah, a lot of these guys got price adjusted, like, really good. I mean, we can look at quarterback. Anthony Richardson has been at this, like, low 5 range, but I mean, since getting bumped out of starter, he went to a low 5 and only went up $300. Caleb Williams has been Caleb Williams is the definition of boomer bust for fantasy this season, right? 7, 9, those kills you. 23, that's a really good week. 11, 26, 29, really, really good weeks. 10, 9, 6, 16, like, boomer bust is the definition of them. But at 5,100, that's a good price for him. Going to wide receiver, like, Nico Collins is 7,600. CeeDee Lamb is 7,300, thankfully. Tyreek Hill is 7,200. These guys are at pretty good prices. Marvin Harrison all the way down to 6,100. So, I guess we can go to wide receivers now. Like, running backs, Abdullah is the value guy this week at 4,300. Javonte, though, at 52, Bucky, Rashard White. Even Rico Dowdle's in a pretty good spot. I just don't trust it with the injuries of Dallas's offensive line. So Rico Dowdle kind of not in there for me, personally. Just checking something really quick. Okay, so wide receiver this week, I think Amon-Ra's in a good spot. I don't know if you need to get to him, though. Nico Collins is in a good spot. Tennessee dealing with secondary issues. Let me see what the Titans... It's one of the difficult things is, looking at defenses to kind of target against, too. So it's just 3 Gabe, Judy, Lamb. So it looks like they got healthier in the secondary than before. I'm going to try to find Roto. So it looks like the secondary got healthier than where they were. Yeah, McCreary is good to go. Hardy's good to go. The Jerry Sneed placed on the IR. So yeah, I guess their secondary did get healthy, but I still think Nico Collins is in a good spot with C.J. Stroud. Malik Neighbors is I just personally I love Malik Neighbors. I think he's this wide receiver class really quick. I think is going to be one of the better wide receiver classes we've gotten in years. If you consider the impact these guys have had and will have, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Marvin Harrison, Land McConkey, Brian Thomas, probably missing somebody, but I can't. Ricky Pearsall, I think, is going to make an impact in San Fran. Like, the wide receiver class is going to be crazy good. Hopefully Jalen Coker develops more in Carolina. He could be a sneaky one there. I don't know why Abdul is just sitting there. Sorry. But yeah, Malik Neighbors, I like him. I just don't trust the DeVito situation. Tyreek Hill against New England's in a really, really good spot. I like him as well. A lot of people going to play Collins. Justin Jefferson, by the way, against Chicago. I think he's in a good spot as well. It is a tougher matchup. He's going to see a good amount of Jalen Johnson, but that's not the only guy he's going to see. I'm not playing in cash, definitely, but tournaments, I do have exposure to it. Mike Evans have exposure to it as well against the Giants. I don't think he has a crazy good game. I think they probably ease him back into it. But it is a good matchup for him. Terry McLaurin, yeah, good matchup. The game script just doesn't seem good on paper right now. DK Metcalf, I like DK. I like JSN against Arizona. Josh Allen's price, I like the pricing for Josh Allen's. Is a 19.4 game against the Jets. It goes $200 cheaper. So, Josh Downs has just been getting a lot of work, and I'll take it. So, 6,200 definitely in play for me there. Marvin Harrison is just too cheap, in my opinion, for the talent he is. I said it on yesterday's video, but I've been lower on Marvin Harrison. I think after this season, he has a good year, but the matchups have just been terrible for him if you consider who he's faced, right? He's faced, Sauce Gardner, week 10, Jalen Johnson, week 9, Jalen Ramsey, week 8. I can't remember who he faced week 7 against the Chargers. I don't know. It's drawing a blank for me. Jair, probably Tre'Davious Ward in this one. Washington's a good matchup for him. Detroit's a good matchup for him. Rams is a good matchup for him. The Bills, who had Douglas in them, he's gotten some tougher matchups. Against Seattle, Seattle runs man a lot. They have some good, capable corners, but we've seen them get burnt in that same aspect. So, Jaden Reed, I think, is in a good matchup, 5,900. Cortland Sutton, definitely. I think he's just like Cortland Sutton, not really getting changed in price is nice. Like 14.8 doesn't pay off for 5.9. But I mean, getting guys that get you consistent points though is nice. Getting guys that get volume, getting guys that get red zone. Like I think Cortland Sutton is top 5 in red zone targets this season, so wanting to get exposure there is definitely nice. Juwan Jennings was a really good play for me until Purdy went out. I don't know if I want to go Jennings. I kind of like CMC a lot, like Kittle, like Debo. I don't know if I like Jennings as much now. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, I really like those two in that matchup. DeAndre Hopkins first price point, I think this is a good, better game for DeAndre Hopkins. They really haven't used him quite a bit. And they've had some close games, right? They lose to Buffalo. He's only got 4 targets. Should have lost to Denver. He only had 5. Close game against Tampa. He had 9. And, he gets traded over. And he gets 3 targets. So, I think it's a good bounce back game for DeAndre Hopkins, though. Michael Pittman is cheap. He just has not produced this season. 1 game above 20, only 3 above 10 this season. Josh Downs, Alec Pierce have kind of seen more ceiling games. Jalen Waddle in a good spot, just hasn't gotten, Jalen Waddle has not gotten the love he's previously gotten on this team. He just has not, right? 47 targets. He's averaging 4.7 targets a game. Jalen, the fact that Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill aren't having the success they previously had with the emergence of Juanu Smith fitting comfortably, Devon Achane, just being a monster for him. Having a good tight end, they have not had good tight ends, and they're just not using Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle the way they should. They're going to have to fight to get in the playoffs, so there'll be games where they're going to be used, and we're going to see it. I don't know if this is one, though. Wandell, kind of same thing as Neighbors. Good matchup. I just don't know if I trust DeVito with them. But yeah, other than that, you're going, Jacoby Myers is in play, but you're kind of going risky there. Tight end, you can make a case for so many tight ends. The price drop off between Otten and Laporte is $1,200, the tier difference. So if you wanted to go Bowers, you wanted to go Kelsey, McBride, I'm okay with that. If you wanted to pay down for Laporta, Hunter Henry, Juanu Smith, Zach Ertz, I'm okay with that. Jatavion Sanders, kind of a really good matchup for him, just hasn't gotten a lot of love. If you wanted to go cheap and go Dallas tight ends, Shoemaker, Spanford, either of those guys are in play for me. So, kind of where I'm at with the slate. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Very solid one this week. Hopefully everyone has a good DFS season. If you guys want my DFS plays, cash tournament value, my bets and props are up there as well. If you guys want the FanDuel version, that's available as well. So, thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, we'll be back with tomorrow's showdown video.